Good afternoon, everyone. The program will begin shortly. Please take your seat. For simultaneous interpretation, please use the receivers at your seat and leave them on the desk after the session. Restrooms are located to the left outside the venue. Please keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Phone calls should be made outside the venue. Smoking is prohibited inside the venue. Please use the designated smoking areas. Thank you for your cooperation. Good afternoon, everyone. The program will begin shortly. Please take your seat. The program will begin shortly. Please be seated. Thank you for your cooperation. Pave the way to sustainable world. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your attendance. We will now begin Session 1, Resilience, Responding to Natural Disasters. May I kindly invite all speakers to come up to the stage. Would you please have your seat? The moderator for this session is Professor Miho Ohara from Center for Integrated Disaster Information Research in the Faculty Initiatives Information Studies of the University of Tokyo. Our distinguished speakers are Ms. Yuriko Koike, Governor of Tokyo; Ms. Susan Aitken, Leader of the Council of Glasgow; Mr. Pramono Anand, Governor of Jakarta; Ms. Dilpreet Kaur Sidhu, Deputy Mayor of International Relations of Los Angeles; Mr. Peter Flannery, Mayor of Moreton Bay; So please join me in welcoming our moderator and speakers.
Distinguished guests and participants, good afternoon. Konnichiwa in Japanese. So I'm Miho Hara, a professor of integrated disaster information research in the University of Tokyo. My research topic is disaster management, disaster risk assessment, and risk communications. It's my great pleasure to serve as a moderator for this session today. As you know, main theme of this third GNET Leaders Summit is strengthening resilience of natural disasters, enhancing collaboration with cities. Today, from now on, we will have 3 continuous sessions on the topic of responding to natural disasters. Today, we will have 5 series in 1 session, and each city will share their achievement in 5 minutes. And after all the presentation, we will have the Q&A sessions. I will manage the Q&A session. I hope sharing the knowledge and experience each other today will be precious opportunities for learning each other. And now we would like to move on to the presentations. I would like to invite Governor Koike to deliver the first presentation. Please welcome her.
Good afternoon, honorable mayors and governors. Welcome to Tokyo. I'd like to welcome all of you to this GNets. And thank you, Professor Ohara, to facilitate this important session. Why it's important? Because as severe natural disasters are now occurring everywhere and right before our eyes. And in order to safeguard the lives and assets of our residents, the world cities must together advance necessary measures. And I think it is important to build multi-city lateral network as soon as possible. And today, I will now introduce how Tokyo is preparing for and enhancing resilience against natural disasters, which are intensifying by the year with a particular focus on measures against storms and floods. As you see, climate change is causing an increase in natural disasters across the world. In particular, storms and floods are growing more frequent and severe and leaving cities with the need to take urgent action. For example, in Jakarta, you have suffered from the big flood and also the rainfall becoming more severe and severe. And I would like to express my heartfelt sympathies. In Japan, 2 instances of heavy rainfall exceeding 80 millimeters per hour have nearly doubled since around 1980. And in Tokyo, a heavy rainfall event of 173 millimeters in an hour was recorded last September. And drawing on lessons from past disasters, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government has been systematically advancing comprehensive measures against heavy rainfall. And these include developing riverbank protection structures, constructing regulating reservoirs that store a portion of flood water during heavy rain, and enhancing sewerage infrastructure. For example, we have expanded the storage capacity of river regulating reservoirs to 2.73 million cubic meters, a roughly 2.3-fold increase since 2005. And these measures have led to a significant reduction in the number of buildings flooded during typhoons compared to data from similar past typhoons. And additionally, the cost of flood damage over 10-year period has more than halved, one half. To improve the effectiveness of hard structural measures, it is essential to promote soft measures as well, such as using digital technologies to disseminate information. This is very important. And to encourage residents to take appropriate evacuation actions, we live stream footage from 175 monitoring cameras set up along 55 rivers in the city, and publish real-time information on rainfall, river water levels, and other data. In coastal areas, we have installed 15 floodgates to protect built-up districts from storm surge damage, as well as 2 drainage pump stations to prevent canals behind floodgates from overflowing. We are also actively harnessing digital technologies to support the precise operation of this infrastructure, such as by developing an AI-powered water level prediction system. Furthermore, to address sea level rise caused by climate change, by the 2030s, we will progressively raise the height of seawalls totaling some 24 kilometers in length. And enhancing urban resilience requires a significant investment of time and money for infrastructure development and other efforts. As such, it is essential to steadily build up measures with a medium to long-term perspective. And in 2022, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government launched the Tokyo Resilience Project, and this initiative sets forth a vision for a more resilient Tokyo in the 2040s that anticipates 5 risks, including so many risks, by the way, including not just floods and storms, but also earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. We have Mount Fuji nearby. To realize this vision, we are steadily advancing initiatives with a total project scale of 17 trillion yen, or about $110 billion, focusing primarily on hard measures such as infrastructure development, while also incorporating soft measures, including the use of digital technologies. And to financially support this large-scale project, last year we began issuing Tokyo Resilience Bonds, the world's first internationally certified resilience bond. And this allowed us to raise 300 million euros from overseas markets last October. We are using the proceeds to fund initiatives under the Tokyo Resilience Project. And this fiscal year, we will double the amount of bonds issued domestically and internationally to further expand this initiative, which has received great attention from the perspective of promoting investment in resilience. Even amid global instability, we cities have a duty to safeguard the lives and livelihoods of the residents before us, which are being threatened by natural disasters. As such, Tokyo focuses on the enhancement of urban resilience and transforms GNETs into a platform for multi-city lateral cooperation. And I hope that through this GNETs, we may continue sharing good practices and advancing technical collaboration on the ground, among other efforts. And as we take steps together to realize resilient, sustainable cities. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, Governor Koike from Tokyo. Next, we would like to invite Ms. Susan Aitken, leader of the Council of Glasgow, to make a presentation. Ms. Susan, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in Tokyo. This is Glasgow's first time at GNETs, and we're absolutely delighted to be here. And the subject of this afternoon's session about flood risk and storms is very, very relevant for our city. Scotland is a very green country, and we are a very green country because we are a very wet country. And Glasgow is the wettest part of Scotland. The rain that we saw in Tokyo this morning was normal for us. It wasn't a shock at all. But what that means is that we have growing flood risk. Even in our traditionally rainy city, we're seeing heavier rain and more monsoon-type rainfall events. And that is threatening hundreds of thousands of homes across our city with flooding. So we have taken a collaborative approach across Glasgow for around the past 20 years. And this is the Metropolitan Glasgow Strategic Drainage Partnership. It's a rather boring name, but what it brings together is a number of partners: Scottish Water, our national water company, the City Council, the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency, and others. And we all worked collectively together to adapt places to reduce flood risk, to protect homes, protect people, but also to improve particularly post-industrial areas of our city, to make the places better for the people who live there as well. We have a number of projects. This one illustrates the White Cart Flood Prevention Project. Glasgow is a city of many rivers. The White Cart is one of them. And only 10 years ago, there were communities, hundreds of homes who couldn't get any insurance against flooding because of the scale of flood risk. So this project, which was phased over a number of years, has now protected all of those homes from flooding, and there have been no flood events at all, although it wasn't that long ago that residents would sometimes find themselves up to their waists in water. But since this project's been completed, that flood risk has been completely mitigated. The Shield Hall Tunnel was a huge engineering project designed to enhance our 150-year-old drainage and sewerage systems under the city. And what it does is store water during storms. It can store up to 36 Olympic swimming pools worth of water during storm events. And when the storm is over, that water is pumped back and cleaned and recycled. And again, that has made a very significant difference. A massive project which had to not only not disrupt homes, but also avoid historic mine workings under the ground. So it was an enormous piece of work, but again has had an incredible impact. Our Smart Canal was, we believe, a world first and one of Glasgow's most innovative projects. This is an 18th century canal, an ancient piece of infrastructure, which is now combined with cutting-edge modern technology, which uses real-time data and weather predictions to physically lower the level of the canal to prevent flooding. And what that has done is free up lots of land and has allowed us to build around 2,000 new homes along the canal in an area which previously couldn't be used for development or growth at all. We've also invested in a huge number of nature-based projects which are managing floodwater risk, managing surface water, while also regenerating communities and giving them much better access to high-quality green spaces, particularly in post-industrial parts of the city, where, as you can see from the first photo, there was very little in the way of quality green space before. And our final project is our Avenues project, which is making interventions in our Victorian city streets. And you can see there we have rain gardens, we have new tree coverage to manage surface water, but also to create more active travel, to create spaces for people, and to turn 150-year-old city streets into resilient and sustainable city streets, which will be fit for the future. It's not just making us climate resilient, though. It's also making us a healthier city, a city that is much more people-centered and people-focused, as well as the rain gardens. We've put in thousands and thousands of meters of new cycle and walking infrastructure. And it is allowing us to grow our city and to build new homes for people in a way that is sustainable and resilient. It's all based on collaboration, it's all based on innovation, and it is based on putting our people and their communities at the centre of building resilience for climate impact. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aitken. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Pramono Anung, Governor of Jakarta, to make a presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be here in Global City Network for Sustainability, GNET Leader Summit, to share about the Jakarta disaster and climate resilience. According to United Nations, if we account about the agglomeration of Jakarta, is ranked number 2nd largest urban area in the world, replacing the Tokyo. We support over 35 million people, population total in Jakarta and agglomerations. Jakarta is crossed by 13 main rivers with the water flowing from upstream area in Bogor and Banten, making the city highly proof the flooding due to the upstream runoff, as Governor Tokyo mentioned before. In terms of waste, Jakarta produces around 7,700 waste every day, with most of all ending in the Bantar Gebang landfills. Jakarta public transportation system now 92% integrated, making Jakarta rank in the 70th position in time of 2025 survey of the city and the best transportation system in the world. Under the long-term development plan to 2025-2045, Jakarta prioritized flood control disaster management are core strategic project alongside by MRT, LRT, expansion, and digital transportation. The most common disaster in Jakarta are flooding, extreme water, fire, and other, which requires comprehensive and proactive approach. To reduce the risk, Jakarta focus on capacity building, disaster simulation, and public education, early warning system, flood prepare, and strong community engagement. Jakarta has a complex water challenge and need to move from simple drainage to integrated water management and reduce flood risk. These risks are caused by the heavy rainfall, high tides, and coastal flooding in the northern area. Rainfall is another major challenge. In some years, daily rainfall exceeds our infrastructure capacity, while our drainage system can only handle up 200 millimeter per day. Jakarta is implementing an integrated approach from upstream to downstream to improve flood management. Jakarta flood management, one key program is NCICD, which focus on reducing coastal flooding, focused by tidal wave and seawater overflow. This includes building coastal embankment and improving tidal flood protection. We also have the Jaktirta 2025-2027, a program to integrate polder, reservoir, and river management. It's utilized an integrated water management system that handled by the water flow. Jakarta strategic integrated green and blue open space into the urban landscape into the enhanced floods resilient, improve air quality, and provide space for recreation and health. Jakarta is using technology into the disaster management we call the Jakarta Satu as a spatial policy that utilize geographic information system. Jakarta Kini we call the JAKI. In terms of the waste Jakarta produce, and also now Jakarta we managed by the management disaster system. Ladies and gentlemen, for Jakarta, about the disaster and management flood is really important. Now the responsibility by the government, day by day we manage for that, and we hope that we can handle, but not easy because Jakarta have the low tide and high tides. See, this is a problem for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, we would like to welcome the Miss Dilpreet Kaur Sidhu from Los Angeles, Deputy Mayor of International Relationship of Los Angeles. Yes, please.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Governor Koike for her leadership of GNETs for bringing all of us together on such an important topic. We were just hearing a lot about flooding. We're going to switch gears now and talk about another form of natural disaster, which is wildfires, which is what Los Angeles experienced in January 2025. First of all, just a bit of context. I mean, I feel like people know about LA because we are a major exporter of culture and entertainment. But a quick figures, we're the second largest city in the United States. Our population in the city is 4 million. If you include the cities around us like Santa Monica and Malibu and the region, we're at about 10 million residents in the area. 50 million visitors annually from around the world, and the busiest port in the Western Hemisphere. So as you all may recall, in January 2025, we experienced the worst wildfire in LA's history and one of the most devastating disasters in California history. This was the result of a severe period of drought combined with Santa Ana winds, which are winds of over 100 miles per hour that come in over the desert and into the city. And so the fires broke out on January 7th, and they were not contained until the 31st. So those 25 days of active fires burning, you can see sort of the before and after of the community of the Pacific Palisades, which is the community in LA that was most impacted. We lost 12 lives. 94 square kilometers were burned. Almost 7,000 structures were destroyed. And many of the homes and the businesses in this particular neighborhood were built before some of the more wildfire-resistant standards that we've introduced. It was homes, it was businesses, it was schools, it was an entire community. So it was just incredibly damaging for that community, but also for LA. I think you all may recall seeing videos and images of the smoke that was being pushed by the wind all across LA and beyond. And so the city's response, was both a short-term immediate response, and we've now moved past that short-term period and looking longer term. In the immediate term, besides getting people out of harm's way, finding places for the 25,000 individuals that lived in that community that were impacted, finding them interim housing, supporting them psychologically and in all the ways that they needed support, the mayor issued an emergency executive order, and that was to start to begin the process of making it possible for that community to rebuild as quickly as possible. And so that include rapid debris removal, which, as you can imagine, in any natural disaster, but particularly a wildfire, the degree of toxic material is just incredible and staggering. And so that required a lot of work working with the federal government to remove all of that debris, expediting permit review and inspections. We actually set up in that community a consolidated permit and inspection center so that the community could come and talk to building and safety, engineering, the fire department, and troubleshoot all of their issues so that in one space they could talk to the relevant departments and get the permits and inspections they needed. We also waived certain zoning regulations so that the recovery and rebuild could begin as quickly as possible. We tried and continue to try to provide as many incentives as we can to ensure that as families and communities are thinking about rebuilding, they do so in a sustainable and long-term way that hardens them to future natural disasters. And there was another executive order that came out to really incentivize resilient rebuilding. And then we've focused on partnerships with nonprofits and the private sector to make sure that the community center, the library, the school, the anchors of a community are the first things to open up, because people will not want to go back and rebuild in a community that does not have those anchors. Longer term, we're looking at upgrading grid resilience and infrastructure, improving wildfire preparedness of the workforce, stormwater retention in various communities, looking at updating and expanding our mass emergency alert system, undergrounding utilities, and re-looking at the master plan of this community. All of this is not just a city function. It requires collaborating with multiple jurisdictions, with the county, with the state of California, with the federal government. And I'm so glad that you mentioned insurers and insurance companies, because that has been a big obstacle for rebuilding, is making sure that people can get insurance. And so it's a long-term project to make sure that when we're rebuilding, it's more sustainable, more resilient. But what it has also allowed us to do coming out of this moment of tragedy is to look at pilots in ways that we can test things with this community to speed up and build more sustainably, and see how we can translate that to the rest of the city in the way that the city does its business. I do want to take a moment just to quickly talk about, the multilateral international support. Even though this was something that, was not even necessarily solicited, we received incredible support from our neighbors in Mexico and Canada. And I do want to highlight how much Japan came to our support, including from the city of Tokyo and Nagoya, which is our sister city. So whether it was funds that went to the American Red Cross and local nonprofits to support the victims, or whether it was providing technical experts, firefighters, firefighting equipment. In our time of need, our international partners came to our support, and in a time where I would say the US government is forgoing those international partnerships. I think at the city level, we really double down on believing that those international partnerships are so strong all the time, and especially in our time of need. I'll just quickly go over this, which is that we just released our climate action plan, where again, we are building in long-term resilience into it to make sure that when the next disaster comes, because we are also prone to earthquakes, that we are ready, and we are planning accordingly. And then finally, just with the Olympics coming up in 2028, we really have to think about, when you have 15 million tickets that are going to be sold for the Olympics, and that level of international visitors, domestic visitors, God forbid there's an emergency, a natural disaster, what are we doing to make sure that our plans and preparations are in place, even as we are looking ahead at hosting a major event? So I want to thank you so much again for inviting me to be here with our colleagues to talk about this important topic. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani, who we are so proud of. And the Dodger Stadium will host baseball in 2028, and hope you all will come visit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shido. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Peter Flannery, Mayor of Moreton Bay, to make a presentation. Mr. Flannery, could you start your presentation?
Thank you. Distinguished guests, mayors, governors, colleagues, friends, g'day from Moreton Bay. Thank you to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government for hosting us and for the leadership shown through the GNETs. This valuable network recognises the cities are not just implementing national policy, but actively shaping solutions to global challenges. I'm honoured to be here representing the City of Moreton Bay. You may not have heard the City of Moreton Bay, but we're on a coastal city in Queensland, Australia, just located north of Brisbane, which will be hosting the 2032 Olympics. We're the third largest local government by population in Australia, and rapidly growing about 2% each and every year for the next 25 years. They currently have a population of 530,000, and they're projected to hit $1 million within the next 30 years. 1 million people, sorry, not $1 million. This population growth is occurring alongside climate-driven disaster risks. The most pressing risk we face is water, not just coastal inundation from storm surge, but intense rainfall leading to inland and urban flooding. There's not an isolated hazard, and they increase occurs regularly together. So high sea levels, storm surge, king tides, and extreme rainfall events now coincide together. These weather events overwhelm our drainage systems. They back up water through catchments and flood communities far from the coastline. And across Australia, flooding is one of our most damaging natural hazards, and the science is clear: an extreme rainfall and coastal flooding will intensify as climate changes. For local governments, this presents a profound challenge. Our legacy stormwater systems are designed for a different climate. Our growing urban densities, our communities are built on floodplains and low-lying land, an increasing expectation that councils will protect lives, homes and livelihoods. While today my focus is on water, I briefly acknowledge wildfire risks. as we just heard as well. With over 10,000 hectares of natural areas and 42% of our city covered by native vegetation, we have a high risk of wildfires, or what we call in Australia bushfires. In Australia, hotter, drier seasons are increasing the frequency and intensity of bushfires, and they're leading to loss of life, extensive damage to homes and infrastructure, and impacts on wildlife. This remains an ever-present risk. These disaster events compound flood and coastal inundation, impacts damage catchments, increases runoff, and place additional strain on already stretched emergency systems. So how are we responding? First, the foundation of our work sets clear disaster management frameworks. These define roles, responsibilities, and decision-making processes are in place before an event occurs. It ensures that when water is rising, we are not debating governance, we are acting. Second, we invest heavily in partnerships. This is with the state and national emergencies services, our neighbouring councils across shared catchments, infrastructure agencies, utilities, and the private sector, and critically with our communities. So no council can manage storm, surge, or flood alone. Water does not respect administrative boundaries, so our planning cannot stop there either. Third, we must focus on preparedness and mitigation, not just response. And that is smarter land use and planning, flood-aware infrastructure designs, targeted upgrades to drainage and coastal defences, and community education that empowers people to understand and respond to risk. Despite the significant challenges remain, and I know many of you face the same as we've heard, data that is fragmented across agencies and levels of government is a problem. Modelling is complex and the methods are constantly changing as climate changes. Infrastructure funding struggles to keep pace with risk and natural hazards, and communities experience hazard fatigue, uncertainty, and rising insurance premiums. These are not failures of intent, they are issues that require collective solutions. Cities like Tokyo are demonstrating what is possible when technology and governance are aligned, from storm surge barriers and pump systems to real-time monitoring and predictive analytics. Our intention is clear, that is, to deepen international collaboration through networks like GNETs, to accelerate and adopt of technologies that improves prediction, response and recovery, and to strengthen data sharing between cities so we are learning from real events, not repeating the same lessons in isolation. Climate change is shaping our risk exposure faster than anyone can adapt to it. But together, sharing data, tools and experience, we can build cities that are safer, smarter and more resilient for the generations to follow. Through our partnership with Tokyo Metropolitan, government's the King Salmon Project, we are seeking advanced solutions to support more effective and efficient disaster management and resilience across our city, innovative solutions from Tokyo startups. Our technology choices today and in the future will enable us to design, build and manage a growing city that preserves the quality of life our communities value. We are making technology investments to support everything from our long-term strategic planning to delivery of everyday services. I look forward to continuing the collaboration of our global partners and learn from innovators, and thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your leadership each shown in protecting your communities and increasing the uncertain world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Flannery. That concludes the presentation from all the 5 cities. Thanks to the very sharp timekeeping by each presenters, we can have 20 minutes for questions and discussions. So I would like to ask a few questions to each series based on their presentations. First, I would like to ask Governor Koike, as you said, to protect the residents' lives and livelihood from natural disasters, necessary information needs to be properly delivered to the residents. So what kind of information dissemination is conducted in Tokyo? That's my questions.
Well, it's a very good question, and dissemination of information is badly needed, especially during panic or crisis. And in preparation for disasters, Tokyo shares information with residents in various ways. And for example, we distribute disaster preparedness guidebooks, I forgot to bring it, to all households in Tokyo. so that people can learn about disaster preparedness at any time. And also, we are spreading awareness of the Tokyo My Timeline Kit and promoting its use in schools as a tool for planning in advance how to properly act in response to floods and storms. And we have also developed a dedicated app with many useful features for preparing for and navigating disasters. And through this app, we are encouraging residents to prepare for disaster on their own initiative. In times of disaster, we use the app to share evacuation-related and other information with residents. Users can also access a variety of relevant information, such as information on rivers. And since the app offers multilingual support, we are also actively promoting it among foreign nationals residing in Tokyo and tourists from overseas. And I encourage you to try this app, to check out the app for yourself. Many different in various languages. And the evacuation direction differs from the disasters, flooding, storms, and also the earthquake. In the time of earthquake, the evacuation direction is different from the evacuation of floods. But those information and the preparedness of residents is very important, so that education is also very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm living in Tokyo, and I also install that app in my cell phone. Thank you very much for applications. Okay, and next, I would like to ask Ms. Susan Aitken. You mentioned the importance of collaboration with various stakeholders, such as the Rain Garden Project or Canal Project. So may I ask the key to effectively collaborate with such stakeholders, how you can involve them and how you can collaborate regularly?
So the collaboration is key. The disaster preparedness, resilience, adaptation to climate impacts has to be a whole society response. We are lucky in Scotland because we're a small country, we have a great deal of collaboration already, particularly around our natural assets. So our water in Scotland is entirely publicly owned by a national company, and that makes it much easier then to work across the public sector, to work with different agencies to ensure that we align to a common purpose. But it's also important to work across all sectors and with the private sector as well, because there are two sides to resilience. One is that we need to protect the homes, the communities, the businesses that already exist within our cities. We need to make sure that they are able to survive and to continue to thrive without climate impacts or other disasters affecting them. But we also need to be able to continue to grow our cities and to grow our cities' economies and to do so in a sustainable way. If cities aren't able to grow, then national economies will grind to a halt, because it is economic growth and inclusive economic growth within cities that is the key. So if we are not able to grow because, for example, in Glasgow, we can't build on land because that land is at risk of flooding, then our economy would suffer enormously as a consequence. And that will have an impact on businesses, on industry, on jobs, and on the private sector, as well as on people's homes. So that shows even more how it has to be a whole society response. It's not just for the council or for government to take this on. We need everyone to be involved in it. Glasgow was a city that, I used the word post-industrial earlier, and Glasgow was a city that suffered about 50 years ago from very rapid deindustrialization. And we still live with that legacy today. It was a very brutal deindustrialization, and we lost a lot of our population as a consequence. Our city is growing again, our population is growing, so we need to build a lot of homes for all of the people who are coming to live in Glasgow. So we need to make sure that our city is resilient. We need to make sure that those new homes are not going to be subject to flood risk or to other climate impacts. And all of that means that we will have a more stable, a more resilient economy, as well as a more resilient physical structure of our city. So it's getting that message across has been absolutely key to collaboration. These are not just boring engineering projects about floodwater and land water management. They are actually fundamental to the economic health of our city, to our city's future, and to the well-being of our people and communities. And it's that shared understanding that drives collaboration and drives delivery and good outcomes as well.
Thank you very much. I think we could learn a lot from your good practice of collaboration. Thank you. Okay, next I would like to ask Mr. Pramono Anu. I was so impressed with your case of use of AI, such as intelligence traffic control system, etc. May I ask about how AI is used in the system for disasters, or could you share the future expectation of more use in AI in disaster response?
Thank you. Jakarta have 13 river, and also about the flooding, because three things. The first is flooding is coming from upstream, because we have the mountain, something like that, and then the local raining, and also because low tide, high tides, sea. This is a problem for us, and why we use the artificial intelligence, and also we have the Jakarta Kini, Jaki, super apps owned by the Jakarta government to monitor everything about that. Based on that, we know, for example, about the raining season, how many millimeter a day. Based on that, we know how many pumping we prepare for that. Because day by day, Jakarta is depend on what the facility we have it. As I mentioned before, like Governor Tokyo explanation about Jakarta, Jakarta really day by day, the problem about the floodings in front of him. We must maintain about that. Why? Now we have the pumping around 1,200 pumping, and we put everywhere. And when the pumping will be started, it depends on what the system we have it, based on the report. The question is, how about the artificial intelligence can implement it for that? Really, now is Jakarta depend on, not just for the flooding, and also for the transportation in Jakarta, we use the artificial intelligence. Because as you know, Jakarta, the population is 11 million, around 5 million in the morning coming to Jakarta, noontime back to house. This is making the transportation is really crowded. Why we use also the artificial intelligence, and we call the Jaki, to monitoring everything about the transportation, about the flooding, and also about the pollution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think every cities can explore the more use of AI in the future. Thank you. And next, I would like to ask Ms. Dilpreet Kaur Sidhu for the Los Angeles case. You shared the experience of wildfire. I also saw that news on the mass media, and I would like to express my sincere sympathy for the affected people during that wildfire in Los Angeles. And I heard that the new climate action plan was released in April, and so surprised that it was on April 16, very new. So may I ask about more detail about the scope of that plan and roadmap?
Yeah, and I think although that action plan was released in April, it builds on about 2 decades of LA's climate work. So this was not the first plan. This was probably our 3rd or 4th or 5th plan, and each time that we release a plan, it is because we have pushed our departments to be more ambitious and to kind of force us to move faster. And as we see our departments, we own our utilities, water and power. And so as we see our departments and able to take on more capacity when it comes to sustainability, we are able to update our plans and to be even more aggressive with timelines. So we're really excited that in some places we're going to blow through some of the commitments that we had made several years ago in our initial climate plan. And this newest climate plan doubles down on our commitment to being carbon-free by 2045. So again, because we own our utilities, we also own our port and our airport. We were able to do a lot, both in terms of the grid, in terms of EV infrastructure, in terms of battery storage. So all of our, I encourage you all to take a look if you're able, but all of our targets we've identified are ambitious, they're measurable, they're quantifiable, and we are going to use that to push our subsidiary departments to hit those targets. Our climate work dates back to about early 2000s. The mayor, a previous mayor, launched LA's Green New Deal. We are the leaders in the United States in terms of EV charging infrastructure as well as battery storage. So we really feel proud of our climate leadership, both in the United States and abroad. We're involved in the C40, which many cities in this room might also be involved in. And so both domestically, we feel like we have an example to share, but also internationally with the ambitious targets that we've put out most recently.
Thank you very much. I really hope the affected area will be recovered rapidly. Okay, next I would like to ask the final speaker, Mr. Peter Flannery. You introduced flooding is one of the devastating hazards in your area. So what would be the key challenge for Moreton Bay to manage flood and water-related risks in the future?
Thank you. I think our biggest challenge moving forward with the growth we're having of 240 people a week, every week, new people are moving to our city for the next 25 years. So we're building a lot of homes. We're trying to prevent our urban sprawl because that costs higher requirements on infrastructure. But probably flooding's our biggest challenge. We're built on floodplains. We're very low-lying, flat areas connected right to the coastline. So when we get those heavy inundations, and our weather systems are changing so much that our cyclones, or typhoons as referred in other parts of the world, are moving further south down the Australian coastline and impacting cities that have never been impacted before. And we had a cyclone 12 months ago, which is the first time it's happened in our city for last time was 50 years ago. So trying to deal with those issues and trying to get the community to understand their risks involved with that, what to expect, what they can do for themselves, and rather than relying on governments to be the call out and be the ultimate saver for them, it's trying to get them to do their own work as well and to be resilient, to do preparation when these events are coming. With cyclones, you get a lot of warning. With other flood events and the intensity rainfalls we're occurring now, you don't get that warning. So it's trying to work out their response attitudes of the community and what the councils can do in our preparation and using modelling in these kind of situations and all the different scenarios, and try and work out what roads are going to be blocked, what communities are at risk, aged care centres that might be at risk that need to be evacuated, and have plans in place to deal with that as we move forward. And just probably the opportunity to use more technology and to use AI and other instruments and other tools out there to make that a lot more accurate and a lot more understandable by the community, because it's very technical at times, and the average mum and dads at home have trouble understanding that. So trying to get that information through to them that they can understand, comprehend, and know that when a call goes out through the emergency alert system, that they need to respond and to get on board and start doing their plan and have a plan in place, rather than try and plan as the water's rising or the storm surges coming in. So our floodings are probably our biggest challenge, as opposed to firestorms.
Thank you very much. So unfortunately, this session is until 2:40. So as we are approaching the end of our time, we will now conclude the Q&A session. So I would like to sincerely thank all the cities for their valuable contributions. Among this session, we learned a lot of good practice, such as how to manage the water, or how to disseminate information and encourage countermeasures by household level, and how to have the partnership with various stakeholders. And also we learned how to respond to the past disasters which occurred unfortunately. And it's very important to set our plan with short-term vision and long-term visions. So I believe that all the presentations shared today will be highly beneficial to other cities as well. Once again, I would like to express my great thanks to all the presentation, and would like to ask you the big hand to each presenter.
Thank you to all the presenting cities and the moderator as well. Thank you very much. And now we'll proceed to the photo session. So may I kindly ask all speakers to gather at the center of the stage. Thank you very much, and this concludes the photo session. And please join me once again in giving a warm round of applause to all our speakers. Thank you very much. With this, we hereby conclude Session 1. The next session, Session 2, Resilience, Responding to Natural Disasters, will be held here in this venue, Palais Royal AB. And Session 3, Well-being, Promotion of Culture, Sports, and Entertainment, will take place next to this venue, Palais Royal CD. Both sessions will begin at 2:55 p.m., so please gather at your respective venues by that time. And presenting cities for the next sessions are kindly requested to gather in the briefing room at 2:45 p.m., 10 minutes before the start. Now we will have a short break. The next session will start at 2:55 p.m. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the program will begin shortly. Please take your seat. For simultaneous interpretation, please use the receivers at your seat and leave them on the desk after the session. Restrooms are located to the left outside the venue. Please keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Phone calls should be made outside the venue. Smoking is prohibited inside the venue. Please use the designated smoking areas. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for waiting. We will now begin Session 2, Resilience, Response to Natural Disasters. May I kindly invite all speakers to come up to the stage. And would you please have your seat? The moderator, continuing from Session 1, is Professor Miho Ohara, University of Tokyo. Our distinguished speakers are Mr. Agustí Fernández de Losada Pasos, Secretary of Catalonia; Ms. Victoria Henstock, Deputy Mayor of Christchurch; Mr. Romando Sarandana Altes, Chairman of Metropolitan Manual Development Authority; Mr. Benoit Halsbun, Deputy Director for International Relations of Paris; Mr. Wei Tae-chan, Director General of Taipei City. So please join me in welcoming our moderator and speakers. So Professor Ohara, if you please.
Distinguished guests, good afternoon and konnichiwa in Japanese. I am Miho Ohara, a professor of Integrated Disaster Information Research in the University of Tokyo. This session topic is responding to natural disasters. As my major is disaster management, disaster risk assessment, and risk communication, I will join this session in a session as a moderator. Today, we will have the presentation from each series. After all the presentation, we will have the question and answer session. I hope by timekeeping by presentator, we can have fruitful discussions later. Now, as an opening speaker, I would like to welcome Mr. Agustín Fernández de Losada Pasanos, Pasorus from the Catalonia. From him, we will have the video as a first, and after that, he will explain. So please run the video.
Distinguished leaders, colleagues, and partners, I regret not being able to join you in person in Tokyo, a city that has made resilience part of its identity, and in a country that has long understood that preparedness is not a cost but an investment. Let me be direct. Floods, droughts, wildfires, these are no longer exceptional events. They are the new normal. And as we established during the last meeting of the Mediterranean Climate Action Partnership, they do not stop at regional or national boundaries. They travel along river basins, energy networks, and food supply chains. They move people. This is why resilience cannot remain a local responsibility. It must become a shared international one. But solidarity alone is not enough. We need a fundamental shift from reactive emergency response to anticipatory governance. That means investing in risk prediction, in early warning systems, in resilient infrastructure before the disaster hits. International cooperation is what makes this shift possible by pooling data, methodologies, and planning capacities across regions and countries. And here lies an opportunity. Cooperation is also an accelerator of innovation. When governments, financial institutions, and research networks work together, we don't just respond better, we build smarter. We scale what works. Tokyo knows this. Catalonia is ready to learn from it and to contribute to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you can start your talk.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let me start by thanking Governor Koike and the Metropolitan Government of Tokyo for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to share this space with you, and we look very much forward to learning from you and to exchange. As our minister was saying in the video, our focus as a Mediterranean region is mostly on water. Here we focus on drought, but also on floodings. We focus on the rise of temperature, which is one of the key challenges that we are suffering, and of course wildfire. And here we share this reality with other regions, not only in the Mediterranean, but in almost all the regions of the world. Our operation is based in what we call the Catalan strategy for adaptation to climate change 2030. This strategy provides a comprehensive framework for risk assessment, a comprehensive framework which is based on sectoral measures that provides a long-term planning. This strategy focuses, among other things, on the relevance of knowledge, on the relevance of data to inform public policies, to inform the measures that we are taking within the strategy. It also focuses on multi-level governance. The minister was saying that the articulation between the different spheres of government is fundamental, but also with other stakeholders. The private sector plays a key role here. Public-private partnerships are fundamental. Universities provide knowledge, provide data, is also key. The civil society organizations, etc. And finally, our strategy is not designed merely from a domestic perspective. It also approaches resilience. It also approaches what is happening in the world. So there is also a place for international cooperation. And here we have different examples that I might explain maybe in the second round because I'm lacking of time. But this international cooperation for us in the field of resilience is fundamental, I insist, for the exchange of knowledge and solutions, also to influence global agendas. For us Europeans, what is happening at the EU level is crucial, so advocacy vis-à-vis the EU is fundamental, but also at the UN and also within other international organizations such as the OECD. International cooperation is key for piloting projects, so in boosting innovative solutions, boosting innovative projects with our partners, and to access to international financing. So international cooperation is also one of the key measures that is included in the strategy. And I will mention some initiatives, some projects later on in the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pasoros. Next, please welcome Ms. Victoria Henstock from Christchurch for her presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Konnichiwa. Kia ora koutou. That's te reo in Māori for hello. Ladies and gentlemen, the Christchurch story is a story of transition. It's about a transition from catastrophe to competitive advantage. And ultimately, the story of our city really is a benchmark in urban resilience. At 12:51 p.m. on the 22nd of February in 2011, we suffered a massive and destructive earthquake. 185 lives were lost. I feel it in my voice when I talk about it. It might be 15 years, but it's still as fresh in my memory as it was yesterday. Now, of those 185 lives, we had 28 from Japan, 28 students who were studying in our city in a language school, and their lives were lost in the CT building, which is one of the buildings that collapsed. Now, our city centre was destroyed. This is our cathedral at the heart of our city. We are called Christchurch. There is a Church of Christ in the centre of our city, and that has become the picture that defines our city in this disaster. There's no polite way to put it, but our infrastructure was munted, and I know that that is not a very elegant word, my friends, but that is how we became to be described in our city, munted, and there were some standing jokes about it. There was 91% of our residential housing stock was damaged. It's quite a large number in anyone's mind. And this picture needs no words, really. Again, munted comes to mind. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a catastrophe and we were in a crisis. So what happened next for us was a governance reset. It was a multi-agency approach, and fundamentally, this shaped the future success of our recovery. The Recovery Authority moved very quickly to create a new central city plan. It was known as the 100-day plan, and they delivered it in 100 days. And most importantly, it had in excess of 100,000 public community inputs to help shape our city, and it was transformation focused. What emerged from the 100-day plan was our city's blueprint, and this is what that looked like. And so this was a spatial framework, and it was shaped by key anchor projects. So those are shown in the dark grey boxes, and the anchor projects were designed to encourage and drive the growth back into the centre of the city. Now, I'm not going to pretend that the implementation was easy. I lived through this. My husband worked for the Earthquake Authority, and I was involved in some of the insurance claims on the side of it. Delivery was not smooth. There were significant tensions between the central government, the local government, and some of our communities, and also corresponding delays, and most of those were associated with insurance. We've talked about complexity of insurance on the stage here earlier today, but also delays with the funding pipeline, and that's enough to frustrate anyone. What happened is that a gap began to emerge, a gap between people's lived experience and what the vision was. So people could see the plan, but they could not always see the progress. One of the bold decisions that was made reasonably early on was the introduction of new land zoning categories. And this was incredibly controversial, but it did give certainty. And what it did most importantly is that it ensured that our rebuild was more resilient. And that's because the homes were designed for the ground that they sit on. This next one here, this shows the map of the new zoning categories, and the red zone in particular is the area where there were 8,000 homes destroyed and not to be rebuilt back on. Now, as we responded to the earthquake, we also faced a number of other emerging challenges. Some of those have been spoken about here. We have increased high-intensity rainfall and flooding events. And what we did, how we responded to that, is we responded with a systems-based approach. And that was an approach that sat at the intersection of governance, of planning, and of community expectation. I don't have sufficient time today to talk through that, but happy to talk with you afterwards about that. And after the floods came the fires. We were really hit with another double whammy. It was the trifecta of disasters there in Christchurch. The fires were in 2017 and 2024. And again, we responded with a new risk management system, and it was focused on prevention and systems management. And one of the key innovations at that time was the introduction of real-time data. We had a citywide sensor network that enabled better and faster and more efficient decision-making. So, I'm almost out of time, but I really have to share where we are now because these pictures tell a story. I started with the pictures of our disaster, and this is where we are. Christchurch is now a city transformed. It is more livable, it is safer, we have a very compact city centre. We have a thriving tourist sector, tourism industry. We have world-class facilities. This is our international conference centre, and this is our brand new multi-use arena and stadium, which just opened this past weekend with 5 rugby games for the Super Round in there. And this really is a game changer for our city. So some of the key insights for us from our lived experience really is, please make sure you're planning for duration, not single events. One of the statistics I didn't tell you, I was meant to tell you in an earlier slide, not only did we have the earthquake, we had 11,000 earthquakes over a 2-year period of time, not just one event. So planning for duration, not events, is significant. And design resilience into your system and really act decisively. You will have to manage your trade-offs. Very important to integrate risk into planning. And empower your communities to be part of it, and also using data to enable real time. And as you, for leaders, please, I urge you in your governance to act early on your known risks, align your governance with your delivery, balancing your speed with community inclusion, and plan in decades, multiple decades, not in short political cycles. Ladies and gentlemen, Christchurch is open for business, and I really look forward to welcoming you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Henstock. Next, please welcome Mr. Romando Sarandanan Artes from Metropolitan Manila Development Authority for his presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. As natural disasters become more frequent and intense, the need for a resilient Metro Manila becomes more critical. Today, I will walk you through how we at Metropolitan Manila Development Authority is responding to these challenges. Metro Manila is composed of 17 local government units, home to over 14 million people, and contributes more than 30% of the country's GDP, making it highly exposed to hazards such as flooding, typhoons, and earthquakes, and rendering disasters in the region especially consequential at the national level. With Metro Manila's scale and vulnerability, the MMDA 7 mandates place public safety at the core of disaster preparedness, response, and protection of lives. In line with this mandate, MMDA continues to implement key initiatives to strengthen disaster preparedness and response. One of our major initiatives is to strengthen MMDA's disaster response capabilities through procurement of modern equipments and vehicles. Furthermore, MMDA will upgrade its disaster response equipment field storage units into multi-hazard response. Through the technical cooperation of JICA, we will modernize our 24-year-old FCOS telemetry and warning system and enable real-time flood information and more effective evacuation response. These capabilities allow MMDA to contribute to international relief organization operations, including the deployment to Myanmar for search and rescue following a magnitude 7.7 earthquake in 2025, and in Turkey in 2023. At the national and regional level, MMDA has responded to a wide range of disasters, providing essential services such as water supply, evacuation support, search and rescue, and structural assessment. In addition to the efforts on the ground, MMDA operationalizes the NCR contingency plan, which provides a framework for preparedness response and early recovery for a magnitude 7.2 West Valley Fault earthquake in Metro Manila. To remain operational even during disruptions, MMDA is investing in a resilient data center to serve as backup for critical systems. Complementing these efforts, MMDA has partnered with a telecommunications provider to ensure a rapid restoration of communication networks, enabling real-time coordination during disasters. With this system in place, MMDA is now looking ahead to further strengthen preparedness and response. Currently, MMDA is establishing its own disaster preparedness training center to simulate real-world disaster scenarios and enhance operational readiness of responders, not only within MMDA, but also other government agencies and private organizations. By the way, this training facility was patterned after the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Disaster Training Facility. Responders will train in realistic environments, including rappelling and confined space rescue scenarios. Simulated collapse structures, including pancake collapse building, will support urban search and rescue training and fire suppression training. MMDA also plans to construct a swift water and flood training facility that will simulate real-life flood conditions to strengthen water rescue capabilities. The facility will support a range of water rescue activities, including boat maneuvering, urban flood simulation, and high-angle rescue, all within a controlled training environment. We will also develop a canine facility to strengthen search and rescue operations, providing training, housing, and veterinary care aligned with international standards. The facility will include specialized training grounds, including equipment areas and forest simulation environments. In addition to infrastructure projects, MMDA will be releasing a disaster preparedness guidebook to enhance public awareness, covering essential actions before, during, and after major hazards. Last but not the least, MMDA remains committed to strengthening local and international partnerships through active participation in joint exercises, humanitarian operations, and conferences like the GNET's Leaders Summit and Crisis Management Conference, which we last hosted in 2019. Building on these partnerships, we look forward to working together to build a more resilient communities. Thank you and mabuhay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Artes. Next, please welcome Mr. Benoit Holtzban from Paris for his presentation.
I would like first to thank the governor of Tokyo and all the TMG team for the hospitality and the organization of this amazing meeting. I was reading the news in Paris last week, and there were a lot of articles about a new Japanese word, kokushibo. It means cruel heat. Heat waves are on the rise everywhere, and it changes the way we live, the way we work, the way we sleep. There are a few examples here. For instance, in 1895, there were 0.2 tropical nights, and we expect almost 35 by 2085. It is more frequent and, of course, more intense during the day and during the night. To respond to this challenge, we have defined and adopted a comprehensive cooling strategy in Paris with 4 colors: green, gray, blue, and pink. The green one, green solutions, nature-based solutions with vegetation. We have now 26.2% of vegetation cover, including the forests in Paris, for instance. Gray solutions, these are technical solutions for urban infrastructure. For instance, around 100 shade structures in parks and gardens. Blue solutions, nature-based solutions focused on water and water cycle. For instance, 1,200 water fountains in Paris now. And last but not least, the soft solutions that are extremely important, solutions based on behavioral change and urban management, including public information campaign, and the governor of Tokyo mentioned this very important aspect. Let me take just one example, shade plan. Heat-sensitive photographs show a clear decrease in temperature under this shade structure, -9 degrees Celsius at ground level on a day when the temperature reaches 30 degrees, -9 degrees. It's immense, and it's just a simple shade structure. We have implemented 1,400 urban cooling islands. So in Paris, every Parisian is just 7 minutes away from a cooling island, which may include water fountains, multi-use fountains, a lot of shade, but also public baths, swimming pools, etc., etc. I would include now, since the 2024 Olympic Games, as you may know, the Seine River is swimmable. So that's part of course, our strategy. We have implemented this strategy, but there's also another aspect I would like to talk about today quickly, and we are extremely proud of that. This is a practice drill. It was called Paris at 50 degrees. What was the goal of the practice drill? 4 main goals. To model, so similar to a heat dome with temperature of 50 degrees in Paris. To mobilize, so raise awareness and empower residents and local stakeholders. Third, to assess the impact of such an event on people in Paris, but also the economy and the efficiency of decision-making. And decide, obviously, to improve the current prevention and crisis management policies. So, we had a plan based on collaborative work. So first, there was a climate script drafted by the GREC, which is basically the regional IPCC. And we organized thematic workshops with the city and economic partners and agencies, but also workshops with schools from both districts and with residents and stakeholders. It was a 2-day exercise. So the first day was on-site practice with volunteer residents from the two neighborhoods, district town halls, local stakeholders, etc. And the second day was basically a multiple tabletop exercise. What are the key lessons and areas to focus on? So the key lessons, collective preparedness and organization with partners leading to authentication of multiple shared challenges. A lot of you mentioned it. Significant awareness campaign. We had to draft a realistic and coherent scenario with scientific. It was challenging and intense. It took us a year and 3 months to prepare this exercise, and also the cooperation between the different level of governance, so state level and local level especially, but also work with scientists and schools. And so the conclusions we draw were basically areas we have to focus on now. So the coverage of the region with safe shelters, develop a risk culture through crisis practice drills, fostering community solidarity, human response adapted to this very specific crisis situation, and adapted measures for people living on the streets who are obviously the most vulnerable during heat waves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, we will welcome Mr. Wei Tae Chang from Taipei City for his presentations. His talk will be done in Chinese, so you may receive this translator. Please wait for listening to his presentation.
OK， 大家可能都听说 ，NVIDIA 正式宣布在台北市设立海外总部，这代表着台北市将会是全球 AI 的研发的很重要的基地。
Perhaps you're already aware that NVIDIA has made an announcement that they will be opening an overseas headquarters in Taipei, and this will serve as an important hub for global AI research and development. But as the deputy mayor in charge of disaster management, my interest is not in the production volume of chips. What I care about most is their computing power that is said to be the most powerful on Earth, and how we can leverage that computing power to save the lives of citizens during the disaster. This is an amulet. This is taken from a Longshan temple in Taipei with over 200 years of history. This is used for Taiwanese people to pray for peace for their family. That is their profound prayer imbued in this amulet. This wish, this prayer to wish for family safety is exactly the same as Japan's amulet culture. But with extreme weather happening all over the world, prayer alone is not going to be sufficient. Today, what we are trying to do is to harness technology and to build invisible protection for the people. In other words, we hope to utilize the AI engine, which continues to keep its heartbeat of the city 24 hours a day. And this power of protection can be utilized to ensure resilience of the city through 3 lines of defense. The first line of defense is ensuring water, which is the city's lifeline. Taipei utilizes AI to ensure autonomous defense from the water source all the way to water networks. As you can see in the example of Feizi Reservoir, we introduced UAVs for patrolling and inspecting the dam structures. And through AI model learning, the dam body inspection coverage is now 100%. Even during typhoons with high turbidity of the water, AI smart water information systems and dedicated raw water tunnel can be utilized to ensure accurate control of the stable water supply. And Taipei also uses the digital twin technology to virtually recreate the water networks. And by combining this with the AI big data computing, leakage rate is now reduced to 9.98%. And with this, we can now save 60% of dam capacity and to generate additional capacity to support the entire northern Taiwan. The second line of defense is the brain, which is used for the decision making. We've developed typhoon and earthquake AI modules, which uses the vast historical data data, which is instantly cross-checked to ensure accurate track predictions and damage estimates in a proactive manner. The T-SAGE platform integrates the 153 disaster scenarios that were dispersed throughout departments with the 65 different types of flood data to show real-time battleground map. And with intelligence capability improved by 30%, we can use the data to more concrete decision-making support. We are not simply responding, rather we are using AI to make predictions before disaster strikes and helps us in making more accurate decisions and facilitate speedy action. Our goal is to utilize digital twin to build a virtual Taipei and to optimize the city's administrative functions. And by doing so, we can simulate typhoons and heavy rains and optimize evacuation plans. And also the emergency network for 119 ambulance dispatch requests, AI system automatically releases live priority green roads at 261 traffic lights in Taipei. Last November, American traveler fell during hiking in Taipei due to heart attack. Our AI emergency system was able to make sure the preparations were made before his ambulance arrived at the hospital. After he was discharged from the hospital, he is now working as a volunteer firefighter, and he knows and he appreciates the gravity of even a minute in life-saving situations. And this photo is celebrating his recovery, and he gave his signature on this model ambulance shown in the photo. He expressed his appreciation and gratitude to us. AI technology has no national borders. We also share the same wish to want to protect people. What we can learn from Taipei's example is that when we combine protection, the warmth of protection, with the cold computing capabilities, this can become a power to save lives in a decisive moments. As these initiatives have been highly regarded, Taipei has received the World Smart City Prize and Lee Kuan Yew, a Global Urban Award, a special award, among others. We have become one of the most attractive cities in the world, the most sticky cities. We will continue to utilize computing power and translate this into protection for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now that concludes the presentation from all the cities. By using the remaining time, I would like to ask each city some questions from my side. First question is to Mr. Pasolus from Catalonia, who spoke first. So you mentioned the international cooperation, so I would like to ask on that issues. Under the conditions increasing climate risks, what is the added value of international cooperation compared with the purely national and local approaches?
Thank you for the question. Well, let me first tell you, it has been mentioned by the different speakers that natural disaster, climate changes does not respond to borders. Cooperating across borders, cooperating with other regions, with other cities, with other players is fundamental to learn, to access solutions, to access innovation. It's also fundamental to influence global conversations. What we are doing right now is relevant to influence what governments are discussing in international forums and to make political solutions more effective for territories. It is also fundamental to implement innovative projects, pilot projects that can be useful for different cities, that can be useful for different territories, learning from each other. And also, international cooperation is key to access funds to access financing. Financing from the International Development Cooperation System, financing from development banks, financing from international philanthropists, etc. I would like to mention 3 examples of what I'm saying right now, 3 experiences that Catalonia is leading. First, this Met Climate Action Partnership that is an alliance that was launched by 2 regions, Catalonia and California, the state of California and the US, that gathers regions all over the world with a Mediterranean climate, regions in the US, in Europe, but also in Africa and South Africa, in Latin America, Chile, for example, also in Australia, regions that share the same challenges. We have been talking about wildfires, about droughts, about the rise of temperature. We're working on that. We are focusing on that. We are sharing experiences. We are trying to implement shared protocols to respond to these challenges. It is an alliance of regions that share the same vision and the same challenges. Another initiative is the UN Habitat City Resilience Global Program. We have this global program, this UN Habitat Global Program is based in Barcelona. It works with cities all across the world to reinforce resilience strategies at the urban level. It also focuses on piloting. It also focuses on learning from the experience, learning from the innovation, and transferring knowledge. And what is interesting also from this UN Habitat program is that they have upscaled this experience they have, also working with regions, so working at the territorial level in order to bring a more complementary, coherent approach, territorial approach to resilience and the governance of resilience. And finally, a European experience that focus on one of our main challenges, water, the Water Governance Alliance that has been led by the region, by the Emilia-Romagna region in Italy, that also gathered different regions all across Europe, also with a focus on implementing more efficient water solutions, on advocating at the EU level to make water solutions more operational and make that the legislation is more responsive in a better manner to regional necessity. So it is this another, I think, very relevant experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing a very fruitful experience in your city. Next, I would like to ask to Miss Victoria Henstock from Christchurch, who gave the next presentations. For city leaders, what was the most important lessons about how regulations influence outcomes in the crisis? So you shared some new land zoning categories and emphasized the regulation based on the obtained lessons from the disasters. So could you share more information from your side?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. There were so many lessons that came from our lived experience, and we were very fortunate that there was a formal structure around the review of what went on during the earthquakes. And this came in the form of a Royal Commission of Inquiry into the earthquake response. And there were days and days, if not months and months, I'm not sure how long that went on, but it was a very formal process, and it was a very comprehensive investigation into everything that happened through the disaster, the recovery and the rebuild period, and the decisions that were made. Now, it was very evidence-based, and surprisingly, or rather not surprisingly, the evidence showed that the buildings and the infrastructure did not fail randomly. When you look at the photos of the earthquake disaster, you think it's actually quite random, but the reality is, and the evidence showed us, that it wasn't random, and the failures actually were concentrated in the known vulnerabilities. it's almost we should have known that that's where it was going to occur, but it's one of those things that you don't turn your mind to until it actually happens. And I think alongside that, one of the critical lessons is that regulation and compliance does not equal resilience. Please think about that. Because often we think we've met our building codes, and one of the phrases we say down under is, she'll be right, mate. But actually, compliance and regulation, and just because you meet those codes, does not equal resilience. And I think that that's very important. So following the earthquake, and when we looked into the lessons learned and the failures, what this led to was a significant strengthening of our building codes and our compliance measures, and also of our engineering practices. We're fortunate we've got a wonderful engineering school at University of Canterbury in Christchurch, and I can tell you there were some significant brains working in that space and looking at engineering practices and solutions and foundation solutions designed to withhold some of these earthquake disasters. And we also significantly strengthened our regulatory oversight and the framework in which we worked in. So when it came to the lessons and the review, we didn't just tweak our system, we actually fundamentally reset the expectations with a much stronger focus on resilience and on performance, and a focus on alignment of governance and planning. I can't reinforce that enough. I overshot the mark speaking earlier, so I'll close this off now and not use up my allocated time to try and make up some time. Thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you very much for your answer. And next, I would like to have a question to Mr. Aldes from Manila. I was so impressed with a large variety of your actions, such as trainings or assessment of the disasters, or etc. So among those, a lot of actions. I was also impressed with the data center, and would like to ask you how that data center is used. For example, is that center is used also for disseminating information to the people?
Yes, actually we are currently building that data center as a backup of our main facility, so that in case of disaster, this data can be stored and safekept in this disaster resilient facility. And this facility stores not only our data and some other data, including that of the LGU. So, and we will use all those data in not just in our operations, but in our disaster preparedness as well, because we also have some an ArcGIS where we plotted the major thoroughfares and areas which were frequently flooded. And with their upgrading of our efficient flood control operating system, which was constructed by Japanese radio company 24 years ago, we'll be able to predict the rains that will be coming into Metro Manila, the specific place where it will fall, as well as the amount of rain that will come into Metro Manila. So we'll use all those information to inform the public that you have to avoid these places in 2 hours, because rain will come. It's about 20-30 millimeters of rain that will be coming in 2 hours, and the street will be flooded. It will be tie up with Project NOAA of the University of the Philippines. They already have simulations regarding these flood-prone areas. And definitely we will use this to inform the public of possible dangers coming from natural disasters. So yes, we are using technology to inform the people regarding disasters and for them to prepare and be safe during these calamities or events. So thank you.
Thank you very much for additional information about the technologies. Next, I would like to ask Mr. Hartzbun from Paris, who presented for us. You have just told us about the Paris at 50-degree exercise. So also in Japan, the heat waves is becoming one of the big issues, especially in the summer. Now is spring in Japan. So in the coming summer, you may experience extraordinary heat. Anyway, I observed that exercise is very wonderful. Do you plan to hold another one or expand the activity in the next future for such drill or capacity building among people?
Thank you very much for the question. So first, we have organized the same kind of exercise in 2025, but with flooding, not heat waves. It's a lot of work, I have to say. As I said, it took us like a year and 3 months to prepare this exercise. But we are very much convinced that it is extremely useful. And in this context, we are working now with the UN Environment Program, UNEP, and try, to organize that kind of exercises with other cities around the world. So the end target is to have like an exercise 50 cities at 50 degrees. So if any city would be interested to join the initiative, we are now working with UNEP to build that exercise. I have a bit of time, so let me tell you why I think this exercise was extremely useful. First, it helps to test your strategies. So we all have strategies in our cities, but basically most of the strategies are targets. So we need to reach that target, but we need to test this target concretely. And now, it's not like, we'll be carbon neutral in 2050. We need to test it now. So that's a very good way to test now where you are, where are your vulnerabilities, and where you must invest. Second, I'd say national cooperation is very much important as well. I mentioned the fact that it was we worked very closely with the state of France, of course, because it's a question of security, but even sometimes defense issues. It brings a lot of actors around the table, and when there's a crisis, we need everybody, local and national actors. So that's a good way also to test. Are all the levels ready to cooperate? And the third aspect, I think my colleague from Catalonia mentioned it, international cooperation. We always talk about partnership also in our strategies, and we need to learn from each other. I think that kind of exercise on heat waves, for instance, but also on floodings, is extremely useful and extremely important for international cooperation. I don't know, for instance, in Paris, we have divided by 2 air pollution. Now, as I said, I don't know, the Seine River is swimmable, so maybe, we have launched a network of swimmable cities. But at the same time, some cities in the world are already at 50 degrees. So we absolutely need to learn from these cities. How do they organize? How do they cope? So it's really a matter of international cooperation, national cooperation, and how you can test your strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing your interesting experience. Okay, so next we would like to ask the last presenter from Taipei. You highlighted how the digital twin technologies has successfully optimized Taipei's water management, and you mentioned that it drastically reduced leakage of the water. So may I ask the question if you have any plan to scale these technologies to other critical infrastructures, not only water supply, but also for other services?
好，我认为最核心的应该不只是技术问题，而是如何治理一个高度
What I think
机动
most
而且
important
复杂的城市系统。
is not technology per se. Of course, technology is important, but governance for a complex city is important. And there are three challenges that I would like to highlight. There are various departments operating in a city, and information is currently distributed or dispersed among those departments. With the use of digitalization, we need to make sure that such information becomes effective. Rather than building an archive, we want to make this information digital and useful. That is our approach. And another thing I would like to mention is with respect to the systems. For development of systems, of course, we need to ensure simulations and computing have to run on these systems. Otherwise, we will build systems that will become useless. So we need to ensure there are no blind spots. So that is what I'm working on in order to eliminate blind spots in terms of governance. And also rapid response is important. For decision making, this of course needs to speed up, and translating decisions into action is crucial. These are the three challenges that we are trying to overcome right now. This is what I've wanted to share with you. We are taking a step-by-step approach from points to lines to planes or surface. This is the approach we are taking, and we are gradually expanding to other areas, including public architecture, the overall systems, architecture. We need to ensure that everything is useful and the resource allocated in effective manner. We need to power data. We need data-powered city operations, from reactive to proactive operations, using data, identify issues or problems, and then make use of the data in decision-making and further speed up the decision-making to contribute to governance for the entire city. That is our priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your additional explanations and comments. Unfortunately, our time is very limited, and we have extra 5 minutes. So I would like to summarize these sessions on responding to natural disasters. This session had a really variety of the disasters, such as earthquake, flood, and heat waves, etc., wildfire also. And we learned from their good practice about how to manage disaster risk and how we can raise the capacity among people and officers, and how we can build governance against the disaster in the past disaster or also in the future disasters. Among all the comments, I really impressed with the word from Christchurch, from recovery to transformation. We need to face with the future disaster risk and reduce the risk with our lessons and the coming technologies. So I really hope that this session will help you for consider your city's future countermeasures. And I would like to expect furthermore partnership between our cities. Okay, once again, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the participants, and please have a big hand to each presenters.
Thank you very much to all the presenting cities and the moderator as well. Thank you very much. And now we will proceed to the photo session. So may I kindly ask all speakers to gather at the center of the stage. Thank you very much. And this concludes the photo sessions. Please join me once again in giving a warm round of applause to all our speakers. Thank you very much. Well, this concludes session 2. And the next session, session 4, Resilience, Response to Natural Disasters, will held in this room, while session 5, Well-being, Realizing Inclusive Societies, will take place next to this venue, Palais Royal CD. Both sessions are scheduled to begin at 4:10, so please gather by the start time. Also, those who will speak in the next session, please gather in the briefing room at 4 o'clock, 10 minutes before the start. Now we will have a short break. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the program will begin shortly. Please take your seats. For a simultaneous interpretation, please use the receivers at your seat and leave them on the desk after the session. Restrooms are located to the left outside the venue. Please keep your mobile phones on silent mode, and phone calls should be made outside the venue. Smoking is prohibited inside the venue. Please use the designated smoking areas. Thank you for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, the program will begin shortly. Please take your seat. For simultaneous interpretation, please use the receivers at your seat and leave them on the desk after the session. Restrooms are located to the left outside the venue. Please keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Phone calls should be made outside the venue. Smoking is prohibited inside the venue. Please use the designated smoking areas. Thank you for your cooperation. Hello everyone, and we will now begin Session 4, Resilience, Response to Natural Disasters. And may I kindly invite all speakers to come up to the stage. And would you please have your seat? The moderator, continuing from Session 2, is Professor Miho Ohara, University of Tokyo. And our distinguished speakers are Mr. Halkirat Singh, Deputy Mayor of Brampton, Mr. William Reyes Gracia, Staff Member for International Cooperation at the Office of Secretary for Disaster Risk Management of Cali, Mr. Raffaele Cataneo, Undersecretary for European and International Relations of the Lombardy region, Mr. Saudi Ali, Mayor of Tinadu, and Mr. Vilevon Chantalati, Vice Governor of Vientiane. And the Lombardy region will be joining us online today. Thank you very much for your attendance. And now, please join me in welcoming our moderator and speakers.
Distinguished guests and participants, welcome to this third session on responding to natural disasters. I am Miho Ohara, Professor of Center of Integrated Disaster Information Researches in the University of Tokyo, Japan. My research topic is disaster management, risk assessment, and risk communication. Then I would like to moderate this session. It's my great pleasure to be here as a moderator today. In these sessions, each city will share their experience within 5 minutes. After all the presentation, we will have the question and answer time. We would like to have a fruitful discussion in these sessions. Now, as an opening speaker, I would like to welcome Mr. Halkirat Singh from Brampton for his presentation. Please start your presentation.
Thank you, and I want to begin by thanking Governor Koike and the whole GNETS team for being wonderful hosts. This is our second year in engaging, and we've had a remarkable relationship and hope to see it continue in a productive way for all parties. So I'm honored to speak on behalf of the City of Brampton. It is one of the fastest growing municipalities / cities in Canada. We are always number 1 or number 2. Like many cities represented here today, we are experiencing the impacts of climate change through more intense storms, flooding risks, and extreme heat. Our approach focuses on 3 key priorities: resilient infrastructure, nature-based solutions, and strong community preparedness. So for resilient infrastructure, one of our most important resilient investments is the Riverwalk flood project along with what we call the Etobicoke Creek. That's our downtown core that you could see in the picture right there, and that's actually built on previously where was a river that was moved. So it's all a massive floodplain, and that's why this river, the project is very, very important, the Riverwalk project, because it allows us to get density in our downtown core. We project many high-rises and condos once we're able to build in the Riverwalk project. The city owns about 3.76, that says million, but actually billion. It's with a B, that's a mistake, in low-impact development infrastructure. Also, that helps improve water quality, restore groundwater recharge, and strengthen climate resilience. So the first part of the project, it's already begun, so hopefully many of you can come visit the beautiful city of Brampton and see the work happening. I know members of the GNETS team have visited. The first part is the downtown Brampton flood protection, so that's focusing more on the immediate issue of the floodplain. And then the second part of Riverwalk will be the implementation of the Urban Design Master Plan, which creates a public realm outward and around the flood protection area, making it more accessible for residents and visitors to come visit the city. We also have a robust stormwater management program as well. We have been investing in our stormwater for many years. We're expanding wetlands, bioswales, green infrastructure, and tree canopy. We do have a 1 million tree target. We've done about 244,000 trees by 2040, something I'm passionate about. We have a great alignment between our politicians and our staff and bureaucracy, where I personally, as deputy mayor, run tree plantings every year and engage our residents to do those tree plantings. I just did last year well over 2,500 trees myself. So we really have a pro tree canopy and tree planting council and staff and community as well. Building on that, we also have SNAP programs. This allows us for a more hyper-localized approach to climate change. This is where the community comes together, does local walks in the neighborhood, and determines where the best suited local projects are for tree planting and natural heritage restoration, stormwater management and green infrastructure, energy and water conservation programs, and park improvement. So this allows, when we manage cities, we have more of a top-down approach. This allows a more from the bottom-up approach. And this is where they meet and they work together to get the best outcomes and solutions for the city and for residents. And then we also have our climate-ready Brampton. So we have many plans. And I always laugh at City Hall that we have many plans, but it's about making a reality. And so that's why we're taking many of these actions, including the Etobicoke Creek Wetland Enhancement Project, urban forest management, to make the plans a reality and actionable. And then lastly, we have our emergency preparedness management office. This is for emergencies in particular. We do get rainstorms and other things that happen. And so this is an office that engages with community partners to best prepare for floods, storms, power outages. Community organizations are a vital component of this. Religious organizations open up their buildings for disasters. So it's really important to have these strong partnerships, especially when emergencies happen. So I'd like to end off with municipalities are at the front lines of natural disasters. So that's why this conference is very important, so that we can learn from each other. As climate risks continue to grow globally, collaboration between cities is essential. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to my colleagues. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shin. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. William Andres Reyes Garcia from Cali for his presentation.
Okay, hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you to the GNITS Secretariat for all the arrangement made to this session to succeed. It is an honor to me to represent the city of Cali in these important discussions. Santiago de Cali is the capital of the department of Valle del Cauca in Colombia. Founded in 1536, is one of the oldest cities in the Americas. Cali is also the third largest city in Colombia with over 2.5 million inhabitants. But beyond its scale and its diversity, Cali is a city who is facing increasing and complex disaster risks. Our territory is exposed to floods, landslides, fires, earthquakes, and technological risk. To address this, Cali operates within under an integrated disaster risk management system. This system is supported by a strong institutional articulation at both national and subnational levels, and the major city office leads coordination through the Secretariat for Disaster Risk Management in Colombia, operating under an incident command system that integrates police, fire departments, emergency medical services, environmental authorities, relief agencies, and public utilities. Cali is located along the Cauca River, the second most important water flows in Colombia, which runs along the western edge of our city. An example of risk reduction project in Cali is the Plan Jarillon. This is basically a 26.5 kilometers long flood protection system along the Cauca River. It protects from extreme flooding around 1 million people, and its potential failure will result in huge economic and human losses, and leave 80% of the population without potable water. But what we have learned in Cali is that infrastructure alone is not enough. And building on that, we are creating SATIC, or Early Warning System. This system is a community-based monitoring which integrates real-time monitoring data and technology. This is especially important in vulnerable areas where local knowledge becomes a critical asset. In Cali, resilience is built by infrastructure, community-based action, and institutional coordination. Looking ahead, we are moving from local interventions to metropolitan approach. Over the next 10 years, we want to resettle over 8,000 households from high-risk areas, scale the early warning system to the metropolitan region, and strengthen preparedness for disaster for over 15 people. and support more than 20,000 organizations in disaster risk planning. These efforts will allow us to scale resilience across a broader metropolitan region, including municipalities such as Puerto Tejada and Jamundí, which are located at the south side of the city, and with the potential to scale further. Cali is a resilient city and will continue to progress through the strength and diversity of these people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Rafael Cattaneo from the Lombardia region for his presentation. This presentation will be held by online, so I would like to check the connection. Mr. Cattaneo, can you hear me? Mr. Cattaneo, can you hear me? I cannot hear your voice. Can you hear me? It's muted. Maybe could you check your status of muting? I cannot hear your voice. So maybe sound problem. So maybe you may be muting your voice. So could you change your setting?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Sorry for that troubles.
Thank you. Now the problem has been that you have to activate my audio by your side, so I cannot activate my audio directly. But in any case, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to invite with us. Thank you to Governor Enrico Coike and all the organizer to invite the Lombardy region to the GNES Leader Summit. And it's a pleasure to have the possibility to take part of this important meeting, albeit remotely. Another opportunity to strengthen the link between Lombardy and Tokyo. I remember the visit we have had a few months ago in Japan, in Tokyo and in Osaka. I have no slide, but I would share with you our experience in Lombardy. Lombardy is the largest Italian region, the region of Milan, in the northern part of Italy, 10 million inhabitants, 800,000 companies, 1,500 municipalities, and one of the most vibrant and brilliant economy in Europe, the first manufacturing region in Europe, for instance. So in our region, our civil protection system is based on 4 points. First point, the operational room as a strategic asset. The approach adopted by Lombardy region to emergency management took shape from 2005 with the strategic decision to integrate scientific monitoring and the coordination of emergency response within a single physical and decision-making environment, the operational room. The collocation of risk analysis and emergency responders within the same operation center is a structural element of the Lombardy model rather than a mere organizational aspect, as it enables decision-making process to be significantly accelerated during critical phases. And this model operates in a particularly complex and strategic region. I just said to you the characteristic of our region, but let me underline that our region is characterized by high exposure to a variety of risks: hydrological, meteorological, forest fires, industrial accidents, which require an integrated and continuous response capability. Suffice it to say that we are surrounded by the Alpine mountain chain, and we are the Italian region with the highest concentration of lakes, over 60 lakes, including 5 major lakes. Over the years, the system has proven its effectiveness in managing a wide range of emergency through a single operational workflow that enables seamless monitoring, analysis, and response. The Regional Operations Center handles thousands of reports and incidents every year, coordinating the rapid mobilization of local agencies and volunteers. Environmental emergency managed by the Regional Agency for Environmental Protection and the Civil Protection Agency reached last year a record of 1,425 reports, 60% more than 10 years before. The main critical issues, including air pollution, fires, environmental offenses, and hydrological instability, are the main risk we are facing. In this sense, the Regional Operations Center makes the hub of the civil protection system in Lombardy, an environment where scientific information and data are translated in real time into operational decisions, ensuring constant monitoring to safeguard public safety. Second point, the philosophy of integration. This is the second pillar. The starting point is a deliberate choice of approach to bridge the gap between data science, that is the ability to predict and to interpret risks, and action on the ground, that is the operational management of emergencies. The experience of Lombardy demonstrates that the timeliness of the response does not depend solely on the availability of advanced technologies, but above all on the proximity, both physically and in terms of decision-making, between those who produce the risk forecast, the Functional Risk Monitoring Center in Lombardy, and those who coordinate the intervention on the ground, the Regional Operations Center. From this perspective, a streamlined chain of command and control is a crucial factor. Indeed, it is not possible to allow barriers, bureaucratic or communicative, to arise between the prediction of an event and the operational response. Third point, another important, very important pillar, is the central role of human capital and volunteering. Alongside technological and organizational integration, the role of human capital remains central, particularly within the civil protection volunteering system, which in Lombardy comprises a network of over 27,000 volunteers who embody the true spirit of solidarity that defines our civil protection. Not just public officers, but 20,000 volunteers. The system operates both at local level, spread in any single village in any single municipality in our region, through local voluntary organization, and the regional level through the regional mobile unit, which is an essential component of the Lombardy system response capacity. Overall efficiency is also made possible thanks to constant collaboration with local authorities and the shared sense of responsibility among all those involved, elements that enable the most appropriate resources to be deployed in the right time whilst ensuring the safety of body, personnel, and citizens. But let me underline, without the contribution of volunteers, even the most accurate forecast, the most effective operational room would remain a theoretical figure. It is precisely the integration of the system that allows information to be translated to concrete and timely action. And the recent example of this was the Winter Olympic Games we hosted a few weeks ago, where over 3,000 volunteers ensured the smooth and peaceful running of the Games. And last point, a global vision towards an international resilient network. This experience also opened up a broader perspective of international cooperation on monitoring and emergency response protocols. The challenges posed by climate change and natural risk do not recognize borders and therefore require increasing structural collaboration among regions, and countries all over the world. In this context, Lombardy aims to position itself as a reference model at the international level, ready to share its best practices with partners also within the GNETS framework. The objective is to make available the expertise developed in integrated forecasting and operational response so that it may serve as a replicable standard in other regional contexts and major metropolitan areas. And in this perspective, resilience is the result of cooperation, transforming consolidated experiences into shared tools for a more effective and global civil protection system. So let me conclude. In conclusion, the guiding principle remains unchanged. Protecting citizens is the foremost duty of every regional and local authority, and the hope is to further strengthen institutional cooperation with the awareness that the integration of technology, organization, and human capital can not only improve emergency response, but also make our communities structurally safer and more resilient over time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your very informative presentations. Later, I will ask you the questions, so please wait and keep the line. Thank you again. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Saouj Ali from TINADU for his presentation.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to thank Governor Koike for having this such a wonderful summit and to share insights of the everyone's thoughts. Our presentation is responding to natural disasters. First of all, I would like to say a few things about our city, because in Maldives, it's a island nations and is administratively divided as 18 atolls and 5 cities. We belongs to southern parts of the Maldives, so we came from southern area. TINADU city is located is the largest atoll in the Maldives. Serves as the administrative capital of the atoll and has been proposed as a commercial hub of the upper south province in the Maldives. Our population, home over 14,000 residents, TINADU function as a major hub on neighboring islands communities, offering varieties of essential services and facilities. To begin, let's look at setting out discussions. As we mentioned, our city is administrative heart of the Hood Atoll, one of the largest among the significant atoll formations in Maldives. Regional importance, because of strategic location and infrastructure, the government has designed TINADU to be primary commercial hub for the Upper South Province. This means its stability is vital, not just for the city itself, but for the economic health of the entire region. Our population and service rose, with the residence populations, as I mentioned, more than 14,000, is one of the most densely populated area out of the Male, a capital of the Maldives. It serves as a lifeline for neighboring islands, providing essential healthcare, education, and trade services. When natural disaster strikes here, the ripple effect is felt across dozens of nearby communities, making our response strategies absolutely critical. These are the common natural disasters experienced in TINADU, as like a flooding, water pollutions, coastal erosions, air pollutions. Because Maldives is above sea level 1.4 meters above sea level, So we are facing these coastal erosions and flooding issues. How the city's response to natural disaster? Proactive participation is essential for disaster mitigations. Responding to disasters, it isn't just about what we do when the rain starts. It's about the work we do when the sun is shining. In Tinadu, we move from reactive, wait-and-see approach to proactive mitigation strategy. We have 5 Ps are there: plan, participate, protect, prepare practices. Everything starts with clear data-driven planning. We integrated climate change adaptations into our long-term land use plan and maintain our community emergency response framework. This ensures that when an event occurs, there is a pre-defined chain of command and coordinations with the National Disaster Management Authority. When we participate, disaster management is whole of society effort. We actively engage the community, local clubs, and businesses. By building our network of trained local volunteers, we ensure that the first responders are the people who know the island best, the residents themselves. When we protect our infrastructure shield, a primary example is we are having a flood drainage system recently handed over the City Council. These physical safeguards, along with the coastal protections like a seawall are designed to protect homes and critical services from Huadu, rising sea levels, and storm surge. When we prepare, it involves stockpiling essential supplies and maintaining our multi-hazard early warning system. We use digital tools to analyze risk quickly, ensuring that relief and medical aid are ready for deployment at moment's notice. When we practice a plan, is only good if works under pressure. We regularly conduct community-wide mocking drills, focus on evacuations, search and rescue, and first aid to ensure that every resident knows exactly what to do when the alarm sounds. Initiatives to overcome the disaster encountered by the Tinadu city. When we are having a water pollution and flooding, the aqua solutions that we have right now to tackle the stations of rainwater, a major flood mitigation project was recently handed over to the council by the government project. A key features is installations of aqua cells under the ground. These modular underground storage units act like a subface sponge, capturing runoff quickly to prevent the flood that has historically damaged homes and disturb schools. When we are having coastal erosions, it's just about storage. We are shifting towards more sustainable soft engineering to protect our shores. This includes beach nourishment, replenishing sands naturally, and dune stabilizations using native vegetations. These methods are less instructive than concrete walls and help the island's ecosystem adapt to raising sea levels naturally. Quay walls upgrades. At the same time, critical infrastructure required hardening. We have completed significant quay walls project, including quay walls. Raising these walls is essential to prevent wave overtopping and harbor flooding during high tide swell events. When we are having air pollution, it's in everywhere, all over the world actually. The air pollution and waste, the waste management challenge that we are having is quite huge. Waste management remains a complex issue for now, but when we are having national discussions and trying to bring a national solution for this waste management under the national Mega Saf Rajya initiatives, the government is providing new equipment to Island Council to stop open burn primary source of local air pollution. When we conclude, proactive preparation is essential for disaster management, disaster mitigation, and key structure measure includes implementations of coastal protections and establishment of efficient drainage system to manage flooding. At individual level, residents have responsibility to remain vigilant to alert issues by Maldives meteorological service and to maintain essentials emergency supplies with their household. Furthermore, it's very imperative that modern construction adheres to strict building standards to ensure structural resilience against natural disasters. By combining government actions with individual vigilance, Tinadu will remain the resilient capital of our atoll dependence on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for very informative presentation. Now we reach to the last presenters. We would like to welcome Ms. Valaybon Chantalati from Vientiane. Please start your presentation.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Governor, Mayor, distinguished delegates. It is an honor to represent Vientiane capital, Lao PDR. Today I'm here to share our water resilient blueprints, our roadmap for navigating rapid urban growth and expect climate change in Vientiane capital. Vientiane is fundamentally divided by the water situated along the banks of the Great Mekong River. Our water has historically been lifeblood and the center of our culture. However, with the accelerating impacts of climate change, these vital resources have increasingly become our greatest vulnerability. In present, our reactive emergency response is no longer sustainable. To understand our current risk, we must look at our recent history. Between 2010 and 2020, Vientiane experiences in periods of the intense rapid urbanization. During this time, our physical and economic expansion unfortunately outpaced in the traditional urban master planning frameworks. As shown on the screen, Vientiane exists under the present due trace our geographic positioning requires defending the urban center against both extreme seasonal monsoon from above the massive flow of the Mekong from below. This rapid expansion leads to the general loss of natural floodplain and vital wetlands. This area traditionally access the city natural springs during the city season, by the pave over the without sufficiently upgrading our underground drainage. We invented to theory multiply our fast list. Today, we are faced a compounding due trees minishing intense localized storm water runoff from the heavy seasonal monsoons. While simultaneously defending our city against the overflow of the Mekong River, with the rapid growth inadvertently passed over Vientiane natural wasteland by the sealing the ecological sponge, the city removed this primary method of the natural flooding absorption. Historically, our administration had to rely on the active emergency response mobilizing sandbag and emergency water pump only after the wasteland have already risen. So, inspired by Tokyo metropolitan area outer underground discharge channel, high capacity drainage, we recognize a fundamental task. We must thoroughly understand the water before we can attempt to control it. Now, we are currently trying to study the utilizing a fast simulation method. We are expecting to deploy a high capacity substantial drainage network while strictly protecting our remaining surface level natural retention area. And we are using this integral model passive aggressively build the capacity of our government staff. We are training our engineers to raise these simulations so we can accurately plan our future innovations. We aim to design an integrated network that anticipates climate, voluntary safety, channeling fast waters away from our most vulnerable commercial and resident in district. To achieve this, we look to the global leaders like Tokyo. We hold deep admiration for your advance for fast control engineering, especially the underground discharge channel. We are eager to study to engineering policy and financing frameworks. So in the future, we aim to integrate this water model into a broader digital twin of Vientiane Capital or Lao PDR. For the challenges of urban water management are too vast for one city to solve alone. Trust the GNET network. Vientiane is actively seeking international partnerships, innovate technologies, and sustainable financing. Together, we can build a thriving, resilient future. So that's all for my sharing, the responding to intensifying national research in Vientiane Capital, Lao PDR. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. That concludes the presentation from all the cities. By using the remaining 15 minutes, I would like to continue the question and answer session by requesting supplementary explanations and information to each presenters. First, I would like to ask Mr. Shin from Brampton, who spoke the first. I learned that Brampton is implementing storm water drainage system by using green infrastructure and nature-based solutions. As Japan is also facing more rainfall due to the climate change in the future, the use of green infrastructure and the nature-based solution is also very important for Tokyo or other urban area in Japan. So may I ask some difficulties for applying such nature-based systems in the local area?
Thank you, and it is definitely a challenge to convey to residents especially that nature-based solutions are just as effective or even more effective than sort of more concrete-based or you could say industrial type of solutions. So when we initially started the Riverwalk program, there were some challenges because there was additional light tree canopy, but it had been quite mature over many years. And to modify the Riverwalk, it had to be obviously destroyed and to begin construction. And that did raise some concerns, especially for residents that have been there for decades. But you know, we as leaders had to convey to them that the importance of long-term planning and that this solution will protect Bramptonians, protect them, but also generations to come from potential hurricanes, which have caused problems, especially Hurricane Hazel, and also, you know, we call them 100-year storms. So, you know, there were some hurdles along the way. The engineering was quite challenging. I heard one of my colleagues mention financing to get the funding was quite challenging. But, you know, we took, you know, this has probably been on the books for decades, the Riverwalk project. But we finally got it to a point where we can begin construction. And there's two sort of aspects to the Riverwalk. First is the immediate concern around disasters and storms. So getting the infrastructure in place to be able to absorb sort of the challenges that come with those storms. And second is building it in a way that encourages tourism, that encourages more leisure activities for residents. And so that will be the long-term plan of the Riverwalk project, and we want to integrate it into our downtown core. We want to integrate it into the downtown experience, and we want to integrate it for residents to really enjoy, and those that come from outside the city as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to ask Mr. Garcia from Cali, who gave the second presentations. In your presentation, I learned your city is having the system called SATIC, a kind of warning system maybe. So may I ask what makes SATIC, maybe static, different from other early warning system? Please let us know the uniqueness of that SATIC system.
Well, I think what makes SATIC different is our community-based approach. Cali's experience shows that resilience is not only about infrastructure or technology or data, but it's also about empowering the citizens, you know? And this resilience in Cali is deeply rooted in our people. For example, in 1967, Cali faced perhaps the greatest tragedy when a car explosion exploded and caused widespread destruction and loss on human lives. The next year later, the city created the Cali Fair, which is a celebration about culture and music and community. And it was created as a way to rebuild and move forward. And that spirit remains today in our people. And so I think that is what makes SATIC different from any other early warning system, because it is strongly encouraged by community-based action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I also agree that community-based approach is very important. Thank you so much again. And next, I would like to ask the Mr. Rafael Cataneo in Lombardia by online. Mr. Cataneo, can you hear me? Thank you so much for keeping your line. Now I cannot hear your voice. Is it due to some setting of the sound? Maybe you are muting. Can open audio? So Secretariat, can you check your audio setting? Now I cannot hear your voice.
Okay, now probably you could...
Okay. Okay. I can hear you now. Thank you so much. May I ask some questions?
Yes, please.
Yes. I was so impressed in your talk about the volunteer system. In Japan, volunteer is becoming more and more important because the disaster is becoming very big, and government power cannot cover all the emergency actions. So we agree that volunteer is very important. So what is the key to effectively mobilize or receive volunteers in the emergency response? Please share your lessons from your side.
Yeah, thank you. The volunteer groups of civil protection started in Italy after the earthquake in another Italian region, Friuli Venezia Giulia, 50 years ago, precisely in 1976. During this earthquake, a major tragedy in our country, more than 1,000 deaths, the Italian ministry at that time recognized that we need to ensure a quickly and effective response to an emergency, a capillary organization, an organization disseminated and spread it in any single village, in all the territories. And because the army, because the official organization of the state at that time were not enough to guarantee an effective response. But it should be the same today. The real secret of the Italian experience in civil protection is the strength of this large number of volunteers spread all over the territory, more than 100,000 people in Italy. And I say before, 27,000 just in my region, in Lombardy, which is the reason why some people decide to become a volunteer. The first reason is because civil protection is an element who all the people feel as important. The second reason is because we create, let me say, a sense of belonging. The people who take part of this voluntary body is, in a sense, a precious people for the society. So a lot of people decide to take part of this experience. And the third reason is because the Lombardy government support these groups, offering them tools, resources to organize themselves, to have the tools they need, and also to make execution and to have the need expertise to be able to act in the best way during the emergency time. The mix, the combination of these elements and the ability to create a strong relationship between the local volunteers, the regional level of coordination, and also the national level of civil protection allow us to have a lot of prepared people able to intervene immediately in any single emergency. This possibility to have people in any single town, in any single village, allow us immediate intervention and the sense of security for all the population. Before this organization, during an emergency, a long time, unfortunately, passed between the emergency and the intervention of the rescue people. Now, in Italy, in Lombardy, we are able to intervene immediately, precisely due to the presence of this large number of volunteers integrated with the state and regional organization. And allow to the people to feel themselves important for the society, to be part of this group of volunteers is the secret to involve a large number of them, a large number of citizens in this activity.
Thank you very much for your very informative reply. And thank you very much for keeping us aligned online. Okay, let's go to the next presenters. Next, I would like to ask the Mr. Saudi Ali from TINADU, who gave the fourth presentation. As your city is located in Ireland, as you mentioned, coastal erosion is also a very huge issue in addition to flooding and water pollution. So we learned a lot about this variety of the increasing hazard. In your cities, coastal erosion is becoming worse recently, and if so, what kind of countermeasures should be emphasized among various countermeasures?
Yeah, thank you very much. We all know why these disasters are coming. First of all, in 2004, we all have seen in the news that tsunami hits on Maldives. More than $470 million infrastructure being destroyed, and many of households being damaged, and people have died due to this tsunami. We all know this small nations like Maldives affecting because of this global warming, our human activities, burning fossil fuels. Like a TINADU, when we facing coastal erosions and affecting our island, we used to figure out how and the cost of the projects that we can implement, like software engineering, or we can go for hard engineering. For that, we do research, and we gathered a community, and we'll discuss furthermore what sources and what kind of project that we can bring out and to save our island. So further solutions that we found is to have hard engineering solution, to have a protections over the reef, and now we can say that we are trying to get a few sort of solution, but there are more to go. We need huge supports from the central government or any other development process which we can develop without getting a hard rock, or we can use for the future benefits that we can. Because everyone knows that Maldives is tourist destinations, and we are trying to make our city as their like home for the tourists. So we doesn't want to have a concrete boundary throughout the island. and we doesn't want to feel that we are living concrete shore. So we need to have more research on that, and we will try to find out in upcoming years. We will try to get the solution. But so far, we had some solutions for hard engineering. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very informative replies. Okay, so we would like to go to the last presenter, Ms. Barayvon Chantarati from Vientiane. I think you emphasized the harmonizations of water management and keeping water clean. So I would like to ask you about how these balance can be efficiently proceeded with various cooperation with partners, because you showed the ongoing project of the paved sponge effect of the city. For achieving that one, I think the partnership with road managers or landowner or other stakeholders will be necessary. So I would like to ask how you obtain such partnership with different stakeholders and try to achieve the, such sponge effect.
Yes, thank you so much for your very important question. I really get under pressure to be the last person to sharing the answer the question. As I mentioned in earlier, the response to the natural flood disaster in Vientiane, is still a matter of concern. Even we try to learn and study many areas to approve the system in our city. As you know, in my country, we have many rivers already, like a Mekong River and other is flowing tasks. And also in my country, especially in my city, there is a rainy season, trust in June to September. During 4 months, every year we have to be concerned and given to about the flood prevention and lost a lot of money for protect this stem. So that's why I'm very interesting to collaborate or interesting to get a network for assist our system in my country. Also, we are very interested in setting technical and condition for assistance and take this opportunity to attend very important meeting like we come for today. This is our first time to come and join for GNET meeting. I sincerely hope that I will receive cooperation and attention for the city with the experience and lesson learned from the other city, other country that you have very experienced and other organization that you have loan or assistance. For myself, I think responding to the natural disaster is a very important issue, and we should focus on prevention before it happens using modern technology that is appropriate for our country. However, the response condition of each city may be different, especially in my country, based on the available budget of and the governor commitment and ability to use the modern technology. So according to the time, I think for more information, I will provide and list to you more about how we can connect or collaborate, and we need help from maybe after this session, we can keep contact. Thank you very much. That's all for my
answer. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we are almost reaching to the end of the session. In this session, we learned the various good practices, including the top-down approaches at the municipal level or national levels, and also the bottom-up approaches involving the communities or local peoples. So I believe that sharing such knowledges together in this session will be highly beneficial for ourselves and in your city's people. Once again, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the presenters. Please give us a big hand.
Thank you very much, everyone. And we will now take a commemorative photo. So would you please line up at the center of the stage? Thank you very much. And this concludes the photo session. Thank you very much. Now please give another round of applause for the speakers. Thank you very much. This concludes session 4, and all sessions for today have now come to an end. Thank you very much for your participation. And tomorrow, session 6, Resilience, Decarbonization Promotion, will be held in this room. And session 7, Resilience, Response to Natural Disasters, will take place in the adjacent Palais-Royal CD room. And both sessions are scheduled to begin at 9 a.m., so please be seated before the start time. And the speakers for the session are kindly requested to gather in the briefing room at 8:50 a.m., 10 minutes prior to the start. Once again, thank you very much for joining us today, and have a good evening.